Welcome to enVisioning Success, the weekly podcast that's your prescription for business clarity. In today's episode, DiBenedetto and Julia Becker-Collins dive into the pivotal role of tracking sales data and leveraging feedback to enhance marketing strategies. Discover the power of seamless communication and alignment between sales and marketing departments, coupled with a deep understanding of the customer journey.
Hey everybody, welcome back to enVisioning Success. I'm DiBenedetto, joined with Julia Becker-Collins. And I really wish you guys were in the green room with us because that's where we get really slappy, very punchy. We're talking about how awful the word moist is. Doesn't relate to anything, but listen. So Julia is my work wife, okay? Yeah, we've been at this for 7 years together, and it's been a hell of a journey, and I love that it's gotten better. It's supposed to get better. It's just gotten better and better every year, and yes, we're punchy and we get silly and we have so much fun doing these podcast episodes together. But also when we need to be in like hardcore, like beast mode, rock star mode, no issue. There's full trust there. And then when we, we're just being stupid, it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely.
Like so this episode is about data. Not the guy from Star Trek, just numbers and stuff, data. So feedback is gold, using sales insights to refine marketing. Listen, y'all, you need to actually track what you're doing, because if you can't track it, you can't improve it. Facts. So I need to walk you through some of the things that you need to be tracking. And Julia, add to the list if I forget anything. But number of sales closed, number of meetings attended the first time, number of times you've got ghosted, where people dropped off in the sales process, where people dropped off in the marketing process as well. But you really need to get a good handle on every single step in the sales process, from they set the meeting to they actually closed it, and everything that happens. If there's like 8 steps in between, I email the customer, then they, confirm their meeting with me, and then they attend the meeting. Record your data for every single one of those. This statistical data will help you to determine if what you're doing is working or not. If you find that you're getting ghosted a lot, you've got a problem. If you find that you're closing a lot, congratulations. You need a bottle of champagne for moist January.
See, I will also say, I know. I will also say another piece of helpful data is how long it takes to close a sale, and also the correlation between the size of the sale and how long it takes, or how long it doesn't take, right? Like that kind of information is incredibly helpful, not only so that you get less impatient when you're trying to close a large sale if you know it takes a while, but it also gives you more of a reality check of what things should and shouldn't be.
Also, reasons why people push back or fear points that they have. These can be very, very vital pieces of information that inform your marketing. One of the things that people have been afraid of when we have said to them, hey, we'll build your website for you, they're afraid, I'm not going to know how to maintain it myself. Okay, so we've learned to use that data to be like, we're going to talk about this much earlier. We provide you training. So we're going to build your new website and we're going to show you how to use it. Easy fix. We can talk about that in the marketing. We talk about in the sales process, but it makes it so it's easier for your customer. In one of the last episodes, we talked about how you don't want to surprise people. So this is just a great example of how awesome data is and how you can actually apply it in real life situations. I mean, shoot, just keep a spreadsheet or a piece of paper if you're that old fashioned. Like, I like paper. My husband likes paper way too much, but that's a subject for another day. It's bad. Like little pieces of paper everywhere. It's like, buddy, stop it.
No.
So there's a lot of value in sales feedback for refining the marketing efforts, because you can learn what's working, what's not working, what needs a little tweaking. And listen, don't freak out. If you get some really upsetting feedback in the sales process, it's fine. Don't have big feelings about it. Just receive the feedback, use it to improve what you're doing and move on. It's just, as Julia likes to say, objective data. There are no big feelings. There is no crying in baseball. Just assess the damn numbers and do something with it and move on. And
that's one of my favorite movies is League of Their Own. Great movie. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Back when Madonna was in her prime.
Yep.
Now it's like granny grinding on a microphone. It's just weird.
It's just a lot of plastic surgery. It's like a lot of like the face doesn't move. And
I'm at the point where I look at Madonna and I'm like, oh, I love you. Can't you just go to Chuck E. Cheese with your grandkids? It's time. You get to do that.
I know.
All right. So let's talk more about this whole, purpose of the show. How do you think that sales teams can best communicate their insights to the marketing department?
Well, there's a lot of ways you could do it. Ideally, you would have a CRM. CRM is a customer or client relationship manager, like Salesforce, HubSpot, etc., where you are tracking all of your interactions, whether it's via marketing or sales, with a potential client. So when they get an email from you, whether it is through email marketing or if the sales team is reaching out individually, when you get on the phone with the person, when they click on a link, there's a lot of really sophisticated software out there that can help track the entire customer journey, which I feel like is a phrase that's overused these days, but it's a great way of thinking about it because in the past couple of episodes, we've talked about marketing funnel, sales funnel, etc. So using a CRM to track those data points and see where do people drop off, what is going well and what isn't going well, but also making sure that that sales team puts all the information they can into that CRM so they can say, hey, when I got on the phone with this person who looked like a warm lead because of marketing, they had no idea who I was. Or, hey, I followed up with the person who downloaded the white paper from our website, which means they gave us their information and they said it wasn't helpful. Or, any kind of feedback like that so that marketing can sit down and say, hey, we got all these data points or we got all this feedback or, sales is telling us what's going well and what's not going well. If you're a company who goes to a lot of conventions and does a lot of events in person where you're trying to have those conversations with potential clients, sales can say to marketing, well, these pieces of, brochures or visuals or, these things that you supplied us with went really, really well. We need more things like that. Or, hey, this is missing the mark. So getting as much information from sales to marketing about what's working and what's not working, whether it's down at a customer level or just in the conversation level, is really helpful so that marketing can look at trends and say, hey, we built out this whole campaign for selling those jeans and none of that is working. So let's switch what we're doing. Or it could be the other side of it. We've built out this campaign to do a special on these sweaters and they're selling like hotcakes. So what's working well over there?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's talk about CRMs here for a second. They're super, super important. And some people are really well suited to things like Salesforce. I can't mentally handle it. It's so robust and it offers so much. My brain just short circuits. I've tried like Pipedrive and some other ones, but the one that I settled on and my team is really happy with is Go High Level. And I'll make sure that our producer puts Go High Level link for you in the show notes. Definitely check it out. I think that you'll appreciate it. It's easy. There's also a lot of neat marketing tools in there that you can do yourself or we can use for you, like emails, like social media management, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of value. It's a great tool.
That's great. I'm glad you're bringing that up because it's, how many sales teams are just working off of Excel spreadsheets, et cetera, and they really need to be tracking, like I said, the customer journey and understanding what's hitting well and what's not hitting well, especially, if we're talking about products, it's like such an easy thing to be tracking because it's either they're buying it or they're not, right? Versus kind of this longer sales cycle with services, oftentimes it can be more ethereal, but you can still track the data. You can say, hey, I had this phone call with Jane Smith. This is what happened. I'm going to follow up with her in 2 months, and you can set yourself up with a reminder, and then sales and marketing both know, hey, this is paused for 2 months, so we'll come back to that.
Yeah. I mean, there's no harm in collecting data, especially for some of the soft, nuancy stuff. Like, hey, they said they were really concerned about this, this, and this. And then they said they would, quote, let me know. And then they ghosted me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe I'll let you know is code for bye. We can
Right.
talk about that in another episode because it is.
Right.
So there's a bunch of other stuff here that I wanted to talk about. What do you think that marketing teams should do to act on it, on all the feedback they get from the data?
Well, you don't want to do knee-jerk reactions, right? You don't want to see one piece of constructive feedback and change your whole campaign. One of the best things you can do is look at trends in marketing. So whether that's trends and feedback from sales, because what's working for one salesperson might not be working for another salesperson. It could have to do with the marketing, but it also could have to do with the sales team. You could see that, one thing's working for one vertical, but it's not working for another. You need to dive into the data and see what the actual truth is, rather than saying, oh, well, just throw it all out the window, which unfortunately a lot of people do a lot of times.
Not wrong.
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say. But the other thing you can do is have a sit down with the implementation team for marketing and say, here's the objective. Our objective remains the same. We want to sell, 50% more on this vertical this year, whatever your objective is. What we're doing over here is working really well. What we're doing over here is not hitting the mark. What ideas do you have about meeting those goals in a more efficient and effective way? How can we be doing this better? What haven't we tried? Hear from the team. Don't just, be a dictator up on high giving orders, and making sure you're getting buy-in at every level of the implementation team so that they're more invested in it.
Agree with all of that. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a tricky one, and I think it's actually one that we had some difficulty with at one point ourselves. I want to talk about the alignment between the sales department, which at our company is you and me, and the marketing department, which is literally everybody. How do we ensure that everybody speaks the same language and really understands the customer journey?
Yeah. So I'll use us as the example, and I can use other companies as well. It's, I mentioned it in a previous episode. It's getting everybody on the same page in terms of the language we use to describe the company, the objective of our campaigns. It's who are we trying to sell to? What are they like? What do they care about? What kind of language do they speak? And when I say language that they speak, I don't mean Spanish versus English. What I mean is the terminology that person is comfortable with. If I'm selling to an engineer, it's going to be dramatically different terminology and the way that I lay it out than selling to a lawyer or selling to a landscaper. So you need to understand who you are trying to sell to. We talked about avatars. No, not the big blue people. And what they're interested in, where they make buying decisions, but it's also, what are they comfortable with? What kind of language just makes sense to them? Marketing should never be something that somebody has to look up the words to or try to dissect further. But it's also trying to communicate between you and me and everybody else on the team and saying, hey, this thing you guys put together for this blog post or this email blitz, I got great feedback on, so let's do more of that. Or it's communicating like, hey, we put together this other thing. I think if you take it one step further, it's a tool I can use in the sales process. I actually just had that conversation with somebody on our team and said, hey, this piece of information you gave me was so helpful in the sales process with this prospect. And we discussed how could we build that out further as a better sales tool that's coming from marketing, trying to bridge that gap. Another example is, I said it before and I'll say it again, having professional development seminars for your staff that are external facing so that people understand what they should and shouldn't be saying about the company. So an example is if you, sell jeans, it's going to be the example I keep using, or wedding cakes, again, the example I keep using. Internally, you might care about certain things. Like you care that the wedding cake isn't overly sweet. You care that they're easily transportable. You care about where you're sourcing the ingredients. But if those are things that your client doesn't care about, then the fact that your marketing team personally is proud of those things, that's great, but that's not what needs to be communicated in your marketing, because the person you're trying to sell to doesn't care about those things. So it's trying to get that alignment between the ideal client that you're selling to, what they care about, how to speak their language so that sales has an easier time with it, and the person's already bought in to the brand and the company and what you're selling, and to what is being said at every level of the company, whether it's, in a employee voicemail message, a conversation that they have at a networking event, what's on your website, etc.
Spot on. You touched on the avatar piece, and I really just want to drive that point a little further. Everything that you do for your business is for your avatar. Mm-hmm. Your marketing department is serving your avatar. Your sales department is serving your avatar. The more you educate everybody, even your operations department is serving your avatar. The more you educate your entire company on who your avatar is, not just their demographics, but their psychographics, which is what they like and their preferences and their fears and dreams and hopes and yada, yada. The more you educate them about those nuances and what motivates the person, the more people will be on the same page. If you keep that information just guarded and only the marketing team knows it, your sales team is missing out. Your ops team is missing out. Like even your accounting team, like you really have to make sure that everybody understands not just what you do and why you do it, but intimately who you're doing it for. Because if it isn't all about the avatar, what are you even doing here? Like you're just completely missing it. So you need to make everything 100% geared towards your avatar. And that's how you can get your marketing and sales teams, people, whatever, to be completely aligned in the understanding of the customer journey.
Agreed.
Thanks, man. So do you have any tools or systems beyond a CRM that you like?
For discussing sales and marketing, I mean, I love a CRM. It's one of my favorite things. But project management software is incredibly helpful. Again, tracking that data, seeing what's happening, what's not happening, communicating between different members of the team. I think project management software is usually something that's thought of as only an operations team or only a marketing team tool, but it really can be as robust as you want it to be.
Tool.
Yep.
We love Asana.
Right. We do. We love Asana.
It's so like dummy proof. And I say this as the big dummy in the room. Like I can't stand complicated software. I told you my brain short circuits when I see Salesforce. Not that it's not great. It's just too much great. And Asana is like, it's like the Goldilocks zone of great for me. It's enough without being too much.
I was a Salesforce administrator in a previous life, and I am here to tell you Salesforce is confusing. So yeah, I got it.
I mean, I realize it's the gold standard, but I'm happy with silver.
It's hard too, because it's the gold standard, but it takes a ton of work to set up, a ton of work to maintain. And it's, can be difficult for sales teams to get excited about because, oftentimes they're like you in that it's, too much for them to be able to handle. And so then they're not putting their information in there. And yeah.
I mean, if you don't use it, what good is it? I mean, it's just another bill at that point. I mean,
absolutely.
The whole purpose of these productivity softwares is to help you be productive, not actually make you do more work. So
right.
There's that. I think we can put a bow on this one. I'm really happy with all the different things that we talked about. Julia, thanks for sharing your wisdom as always. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to enVisioning Success. I'm Laura, that's Julia. Check us out at vision-advertising.com. We are celebrating our 25th anniversary of marketing awesomeness. And if you need help, you want us to feature a specific topic in our podcast, just shoot us a note through our website. We would love to serve you. Like, subscribe, do all the things. Check us out on YouTube. I keep forgetting that one. But yeah, we're there, and we're super excited to wrap this entire month up. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about collaborative campaigns, joint marketing, and sales initiatives. And that concludes this episode. Thank you for tuning in.